Hello! I'm here to present to you, the viewers, the multimedia immigrant presentation.
What's up? It's Emily. You already know. Starting the project off with Edward Bach. Okay, first of all, Edward William Bach was born October 9th, 1863. He was born in Den Helder, the Netherlands. He was 6 when he left the Netherlands. Once he came to America, he washed the windows of a bakery shop in order to support his family. He started working in 1884 as an advertising manager for 12 Schindler's Son. He became the editor for Ladies' Home Journal in 1889. It became the first magazine in the world to have 1 million subscribers. This set him to become a highly known author and editor. Edward Bach, growing up in an immigrant family. Edward grew up in Brooklyn, New York. His family were very poor. His family were so poor he had to go out in the streets and collect bits of coal that fell in the gutter after coal wagons delivered coal. He worked as an office boy, attended night school, and began going into book publishing just to support his family. Edward Bach's successfulness. In 1886, he established the Bach Syndicate Press, a regular newspaper feature that is informational towards women. The Bach Syndicate Press's success was booming. It gained so much success that he decided to begin editing for the Ladies' Home Journal in Philadelphia. The journal became one of the most successful and influential magazines in the world, along with the title of being the first magazine in the world to have 1 million subscribers. He campaigned for women's suffrage, wildlife conservation, clean cities, and countless more.
Today I'm going to be replacing one of our teammates because he got one of his teeth out, so I think it's better for me to talk. So today I'm going to be presenting to you guys Colin Powell. Let's start off with his early life. Colin Luther Powell was born on April 5th, 1937 in Harlem, New York. Colin Powell was the child of 2 Jamaican immigrants, Luther and Mao Powell. He was raised in the South Bronx and educated in the New York City public schools, graduating from Morris High School in 1954. Not knowing what he wanted to do in life, Powell went to the City College, New York, and studied geology. Powell then went to join ROTC, which he found his calling in. This set him for a future path to a military career. Colin Powell immigration life. Colin was born an American citizen, but his parents were not. Colin Powell's parents were both Jamaican immigrants. Maud Ariel McCoy boarded a motor ship called the Tour Blah Blah. 23. His father, Luther Powell, had arrived 3 years earlier at the port of Philadelphia. Powell's parents immigrated to America for a positive change. They saw greater opportunities in America and decided to take them. Luther Powell came to America on April 26, 1920, at the age of 32. Maud Ariel McCoy arrived in America in 1924, 4 years after. These two experienced racism when they first arrived to America, along with many other colored immigrants. Successfulness. Colin Powell's parents were not very successful. When I mean not very successful, I mean that they were not known and did not make large amounts of cash. But their son, Colin Powell, was. Colin Powell was raised to always do well in school, and that's what he did. He strived for amazing grades, and even though he didn't know what he was going to do in life, he still managed to do good in school. After graduation in 1958, Powell was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the U.S. Army. While stationed in Fort Devens, Massachusetts, Colin Powell met Alma Vivian Johnson of Birmingham, Alabama, and they married in 1962. The couple has now 3 children, son Michael and daughters Linda and Anne Mary. Now we are in the 2000s. Colin Powell has worked up his way up the military chain and is the Secretary of State. Now Powell is known for being the first colored male to be given the title general, and most importantly, the literary work.
Next up, we have Ray Kroc. Ray Kroc was born in Oak Park, Illinois on October 5th, 1902. He is the son of Czech parents. Growing up, he was very into playing the piano and began as an entrepreneur at the start of a very young age. He created his own lemonade stand and even worked at a soda fountain. This started his career as a salesman. At the age of 15, he lied about how old he was so that he could serve in World War I as an ambulance driver. He met the famous Walt Disney, and this is what pushed Kroc to join the Lily Tulip Cup Company, in which he found pure happiness and pushed him to strive for being a salesman. Ray Kroc's immigration journey. Ray Kroc was born here in the United States, specifically the state of Illinois. His parents, Louise Kroc and Rose Kroc, however, were born and immigrated here from Czechoslovakia. It is thought that they immigrated here sometime between the very late 1880s and 1890s. Not much could be found on his parents, and this arose various questions in my mind. For instance, why is there no present-day documentary of their immigration journey to America? Considering the time period, Europe and the United States had no battles to fight against each other, and America didn't quite care as much about the immigrants, so they weren't as strict with rules upon them entering here. Reasons as to why there are very little records of them now could include the fact that Ray Kroc's parents could have come here illegally, or the reports of them had been destroyed or lost, and that there just wasn't much documented during that time. Ray Kroc and how he became successful. Ray Kroc's success began when starting as a salesman for the Lily Tulip Cup Company around the 1930s. In 1954, he was introduced to the McDonald's brothers, where the real deal went down. However, to get there, his path of success was truly a great one. He pushed his absolute hardest and never thought twice when it came to having an opportunity to excel and strive. All the way from a little boy at a lemonade stand to a salesman for a nationwide company, he didn't stop until reaching his final breakthrough, and that was starting the McDonald's company. Ray Kroc is known for what? Ray Kroc, he's known for his involvement and success in building the now famous restaurant known as McDonald's. In 1954, he stumbled upon a restaurant owned by the McDonald brothers in San Bernardino, California. He was fascinated by their work ethics and food and offered to work for them, but took a cut of the profit. Eventually, he took over and in 1955 founded McDonald's System Inc. The first restaurant was opened that same year in Illinois. From there on, hundreds of others were opened all around the United States. Present-day McDonald's is quite popular, and he expanded to other continents as well. Ray Kroc's business has grown immensely, and his name will always be remembered for starting this small-town business.
Guys, today I'm going to present for you Steve Jobs. Let's start off with the background information. Steve Jobs was born on February 24th, 1955 in San Francisco, California. He was born to students Joanne Scribble and John Jandelli, who was born in Syria. His parents, not being married, put up Steve for adoption and soon was taken by step-parents Paul and Sierra Jobs. What sparked his imagination for technology? His stepfather always encouraged him to experiment with the electronics in the garage, which led to a lifelong interest of designing and experimenting with high-tech technology. He attended a local school in California, and later enrolled at Reed College, which is located in Portland, Oregon. There he attended a calligraphy course which fascinated him, which was instrumental in Apple's multiple typefaces and proportionally spaced fonts. Why did Steve Jobs' actual father leave Syria to come here? Steve Jobs' actual father, John Jandelli, left Syria to come to the United States because in his city, Homs was devastated in a civil war. Due to the war, John and his family left the country for their safety, and if they didn't, they would have been caught in the war. Why did Steve Jobs originally leave his home country? John was 18 when he left Syria and went to Lebanon. He soon left Lebanon and came to the United States and studied at Columbia University. There he met and dated Joanne Scribble and later impregnated her with Steve Jobs. What obstacles did his father face? The only obstacles we know that his father faced is when he impregnated his wife, which went against his religion. Not wife at the time, but his girlfriend at the time, which went against his religion because they weren't married. This forced them to put the baby up for adoption. The path of Steve Jobs' success. It all started when Steve Jobs created the company we all know as Apple. He designed the computer known as Apple I. They were able to announce Apple II, the first mass production computer. The computer was the base for the later billion-dollar empire that we all know as Apple. After the computer, Jobs announced a phone called the iPhone. From there, the iPhones got better and better. In today's era, our phones can take pictures and videos like a professional camera, which is something that could have not been made if it wasn't for Steve Jobs' interest in technology. What is Steve Jobs known for today? Steve Jobs is known for the creator of Apple. He is known to us as the person who created the legendary phones and computers that we all use today. Steve made a huge impact to the technology, and if it wasn't for him, other creators of phones and even Apple wouldn't work good as well.